And a very happy Friday to you at 12:08 in the West. It's the John Phillips Show. Mr. Randy Wang's in Culver City.
John, when you're doing propaganda for the slowest construction project of all time, California's high-speed rail, what do you do to make it sound like it's going faster than it is? I'll tell you what you do. You release a video with heavy metal music.
"84 structures complete or underway."
Wait, so he thinks by bringing in a hair band, he's going to convince us that the high-speed rail project is a success?
Of course it's moving fast. Listen to those guitars.
More than 15,000 jobs created.
What's the name of that band? Pink Nipple?
And the first steps toward laying track have begun.
Oh, you got to be kidding me.
Here we are 15 years later, and they're celebrating the first steps to laying track have begun. They still haven't laid any track.
You know, by the way, Southern Pacific in the 1800s was able to lay track faster than the bullet train, and they had to blast through the Sierra Nevadas.
This is your Spring 2025 construction update. It's all about big progress and major milestones in 2025 for the California High-Speed Rail project.
How much do you think that video cost us?
They're spending so much money on PR for this thing to try to save the project because they know the public is not behind them, and it doesn't make them look good whatsoever. What would make them look good is actual progress, which there has been none.
I'll tell you, if it's not a propaganda video, Gavin Newsom hires the cattiest communication staff known to man. He's either trying to outright lie to you, or he's sending in these bitchy, and they're all men, by the way, these bitchy online trolls to go after anyone who's sniping at him.
It doesn't even have to be directly him. There was the whole hubbub yesterday about Alex Padilla and the stunt that happened in the federal building, and then the press conference, and then the 20-minute interviews on MSNBC. Assemblyman Joe Patterson in Sacramento, he tweeted out, if I were to interrupt a Gavin press conference that way, I would probably be detained too, which is, fairly harmless comment. Gavin's communication guy replies and says, "No, we would ask you to leave, you sad, bald man."
When you read what these guys write on behalf of Gavin Newsom and you see their pictures, how much do you want to bet when they're in that office behind closed doors, they call him daddy?
Is that what's going on?
I think so.
The account is Gov Press Office. It is super catty. They post tons and tons and tons of misleading memes. They're using AI all the time now. It's really weird.
Yeah, all of those people, including Gavin Newsom, deserve one another.
More than 15,000 jobs created.
You got to be kidding me.
That was the second headline, outside of
84 structures complete or underway.
So we don't know if they're complete or not.
Okay, 84 structures, that's fine. How about one train?
This video goes on for 6 minutes, by the way.
We'll start here at the southernmost point of the 119 miles under construction at what is called the railhead.
There's no rail at the railhead.
That's why they kept turning Courtney Love up.
This is the area where all the pieces of equipment necessary to lay track will be housed.
But there are no pieces.
No, there is no train.
They will be brought in using BNSF rail lines.
Will be.
Meaning at some point in the future, when we're all dead.
This still sounds like they're in the planning phases for something they've been working on for a decade and a half.
And mind you, the whole thing is not only supposed to be done already, It was supposed to be done a long time ago.
Now let's look at the construction work underway from Madera to the Kings Tulare County line.
You know, they're really doing a great job of ditching the identity as the train to nowhere.
And they're using heavy metal to do it.
In Madera County, all 49 precast concrete girders have been placed for the superstructure of the Road 26 grade separation. When completed, the future structure will improve safety in the area for traffic and pedestrians by taking them over the existing BNSF railroad and future high-speed rail tracks.
Which there is none.
This high-speed rail is the perfect monument to Gavin Newsom. It's a train that doesn't exist, but everyone talks about it like it's the greatest thing ever. Because online and in his mind it exists, and that's good enough. It doesn't actually have to exist. It doesn't actually have to have any writers. It never has to be completed. Just the idea of it is a smashing success.
They don't even talk about the projected ridership anymore, because what is the ridership from Wasco to Merced unless you live in Merced and you need to visit your relative in prison in Wasco?
And that's pretty much it.
Rebar and concrete placement for the deck of the structure is also underway at the...
Now, is this royalty-free metal music, or is this one of Gavin Newsom's press office's kids who they're starting their own band and this is their big break?
Oh, it has to be a money laundering operation. We're paying someone for that music.
At the Avenue 17 grade separation. This is another grade separation.
Oh, it just got more heavy.
This is another grade separation that will keep cars and pedestrians from having to cross rail lines.
They produced this. And I don't know who this is for exactly, because this goes on their YouTube channel.
Is the visual Tawny Katayan whipping her hair around at a chain-link fence in Wasco?
Oh, we're getting heavy now.
Mass excavation has been completed at the Tulare Street underpass in downtown Fresno.
Who designed this thing? The original idea was, I don't know, have it go up the 5 where there's already a bunch of cleared road.
I can't with these people. I am so over Gavin Newsom on every possible level. Everything that man does pisses me off. And because he's been the story all week and I've been pissed off all week, he's got me in a bad mood on a Friday when I should be happy.
Rebar has been tied and concrete poured to form the remaining retaining walls. Recently, all 14 girders needed for the second bridge were placed over the underpass.
But not built.
No, none of it's built.
For an update, there's not really a lot here to update us on.
You know, if there was an actual train, I'd tell Gavin Newsom where he could stick it.
Which will allow high-speed trains to cross over the roadway.
The trains that don't exist.
All right, we're going to have to move on from this because it's just making my bad mood even worse. I'm real punchy today, just to warn all you callers out there. All right, speaking of me being in a bad mood, my auto insurance rates went up 97% this week. Without an accident, without a traffic ticket, with a car that is now 6 months older than when I last renewed, it's gone up 97%. The increase was so dramatic that my agent's office called me to break the bad news to me, and I yelled at them on the phone yesterday. But they say it's pretty much happening all over, but there's no rhyme or reason to why the rates are going up the way they are. For some people, the rates are going up incrementally. For some people, they're just exploding, and they can't explain why the rates are going up 97%. He had no explanation. And now, what do you know? State Farm is being investigated by the state of California.
Specifically, this guy.
I'm very kind of sketchy.
You know, the one that just gave them an emergency rate increase without them having to prove why they needed it. Now Ricardo Lara says his office is investigating State Farm for denying all those claims of fire victims.
I'm sure Ricardo Lara will get to the bottom of all this.
Here is CBS Sacramento.
We sat down with the insurance commissioner today here at the state.
I wish there was metal music under this.
Yeah, why no metal?
We sat down with the insurance commissioner today here at the state capitol for a planned interview discussing our ongoing insurance investigations and the department's response to our findings. But during that interview, Ricardo Lara took that opportunity to break news today, announcing an unprecedented investigation that could have wide-reaching implications.
Our department feels that we have enough actual complaints that we have in our hand that we can do a formal market conduct investigation.
Why is his voice getting gravelly?
I don't know. Maybe he was out seeing DJ Kitty Glitter again and he was singing along to the tunes.
Our department feels that we have enough actual complaints that we have in our hand that we can do a formal market conduct investigation on State Farm.
You mean the company you just said can charge people even more money?
Okay, here's why we know this guy is full of BS. They just had an administrative hearing where State Farm, according to those in the room, did not prove their case when they said they need another rate increase. He didn't even bother attending the hearing, and he said before the hearing ever started that he was going to approve it. If he has zero intellectual curiosity when it comes to why State Farm is raising their rates, why does anyone think he's going to be interested in getting to the bottom of this as to why they're not paying the fire victims?
No, but you don't understand, John. He's totally invested. He cares so much about people dealing with the insurance market and the fact that they're getting screwed over that he's put his entire career on the line to reform this industry.
I may be criticized and dragged through the mud for it and get my wig snatched, as the gay guys say.
He's really selfless.
And we're ready to announce that today.
I think one of the questions a lot of people have been asking is, why has it taken you so long to investigate specifically State Farm, where, we're all hearing a lot of complaints coming out of the LA fires about State Farm?
This interview was about CBS Sacramento saying, hey, here's all these complaints. How come you're not doing anything about it? And magically, Ricardo Lara is like, what are you talking about? We just launched an investigation.
I'm surprised that he agreed to the interview because he really doesn't do any press.
Because hearing a complaint and actually getting a complaint are two different things.
Someone filing it with your office.
You mean your office that doesn't answer the phone?
How many people have contacted us saying that they've tried to contact his office and they can't get a call returned?
This is even before the Palisades and Altadena fires. This was a thing happening over and over again.
Are two different things.
Someone filing it with your office.
Correct.
With the data that you can
Correct.
investigate. So you feel that you have enough complaints filed with your office that you've got the data needed to
Correct.
investigate.
So again, we urge people, now that we're going to conduct this investigation,
File complaints.
please file complaints with the department.
What does State Farm say? I mean, your office is obviously having conversations with them. And
You just gave them more money, including
They don't
38% for rental property owners.
They don't care about his rhetoric. What they care about is that he approves their rate increases.
they're saying, hey, we think you're doing some stuff that's not right, and we're going to investigate you. If I'm State Farm, don't I just fix it so I can avoid an investigation?
Well, I think what you get back is a lot of kind of legalese, and we're looking into it. We're doing.
You mean because this is just a quote-unquote investigation that's not going to amount to anything? And by the way, I'm sure this investigation will take as long as Ricardo Lara has left in office.
Remember when Karen Bass said that she wanted an investigation as to why they let her go to Africa for the inauguration?
Aren't we still waiting for that investigation as to who melted the 10 freeway?
There's lots of investigating going on, but not a lot of answers.
We're not seeing any anomalies. So
To
this
be
is
clear
why.
for the viewers, though, when you say legalese, your conversations with State Farm are not you and a guy from State Farm sitting down over coffee.
Oh, yes, it is. And usually
No.
it's over a fancy dinner.
Yeah, a very expensive bottle of French wine.
It's your lawyers writing letters to their lawyers and back and forth.
Correct.
Notably, State Farm has requested a rate increase. A judge has now approved it.
You mean the judge who approved what you already approved in your kabuki hearing?
Did you notice, by the way, that they sent them to Oakland for that hearing?
Yes.
What's that about?
A judge has now approved it. To be clear, if your department finds that State Farm has done wrongdoing, you still can't use that to prevent a rate increase, correct?
So this is a nonsensical do-nothing investigation.
So what's the point of any of this?
That's the question, John.
Those are two different things.
At the end of the day, you're doing this investigation. How long do you think it'll take?
Well, we don't want one thing I'm not going to do is I'm not going to rush it.
Oh, yeah. Who's in a hurry here?
This guy is trying to run out the clock on how long he's left in this job.
All right. As I mentioned before, my auto insurance went up 97%. My homeowner's insurance went up 20%. My State Farm agent called me and said that that's happening to just about every one of their customers. So I want to hear from you at 800-222-5222, 1-800-222-5222. Are your insurance rates exploding the same way mine are? I'm curious to find out if they're raising rates at the rate of 97%, an increase of 97% to other people, or this is just some anomaly that's hitting me. 800-222-5222, 1-800-222-5222. If you'd like to email the show, you can do so at johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. That's johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. And Randy, today's a Friday, which means there's no new episodes tomorrow or Sunday, but you can keep listening to us if you want to.
All you got to do is search for The John Phillips Show wherever you get your podcasts, whether it's the Apple Podcasts app, iHeart, Spotify. Search for The John Phillips Show. Hit subscribe. You can download all the episodes. You can do a Google on the YouTube. You could share them with your friends, post them on your Facebook groups, and even if it's a Saturday or Sunday, you can pretend that it's
Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday.
My homeowner's insurance went up by 20%. My auto insurance went up by 97%. Are your rates exploding too? 800-222-5222. If you'd like to email the show, you can do so at johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. That's johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. And Randy, you're monitoring the mailbag.
Al writes in from the Port of Oakland. Hey, guys, my AAA went from $150 to $150 a month recently for my two 20 to 25-year-old trucks. I don't like that, but I'm sure Shang Tao does, so let me hear it from you guys.
That's right. I like that. That was amazing.
My auto insurance went up 97%. My homeowner's insurance went up 20%. Are you seeing your rates go up the same way mine are? 800-222-5222, 1-800-222-5222. Let's begin with Scorpio in San Jose. Scorpio, hello.
Hey, guys. I have State Farm insurance, and my wife gave me a statement the other day to call them up to complain that they reinstated a policy on a vehicle that had burned to the ground earlier this year, and I'm reluctant to call them up, much like filing a claim with them. If, in fact, I say, hey, remove this car doesn't exist anymore, I have a feeling they're going to raise my rates if, in fact, I do call them up and complain. What do you think?
Yeah, I want no contact with my insurance agent at all, because if you give them any information, and I mean any information, they can use that against you to either raise your rates or drop you. So my attitude is, if I can just stay under the radar, I'm okay. But when they jack up your rates 97%, what else can they hit you with?
Right. So this is a policy on an old Honda. It's $142.04. So I'm thinking of, honestly, you're absolutely right. I'm scared. I'm scared to just say, hey, this car. Remember, you settled outside of. You paid for it, and who knows? They're going to raise my rates. But that's it. I had just one other thing. You were talking about Ricardo Lara and his complaint about him snatching the wig off or whatever. There was a Red Fox joke. It's pretty clean. Can I say it real quick or not?
I
Sure.
got my finger on the dump just in case, but go for it.
Okay, I can't do Red Fox voice, so I'm not going to even try. So what's the difference between a pickpocketer and a peeping Tom?
What's that?
The pickpocketer snatches watches. Hey, guys, I love you guys, and have a good weekend.
All right. Thank you for the call, sir.
And I may be criticized and dragged through the mud for it and get my wig snatched, as the gay guys say.
Let's go to Gary in San Jose. Gary, hello.
Hey, guys. Happy Friday. State Farm, long time State Farm. Rates are way up also, like Scorpios. I'm grateful to have my insurance, though, on the homeowner side.
Yeah, I feel you, because I would love to go shop around, and maybe I will. I haven't decided yet. But if I leave State Farm, I can't go back because they're not offering new policies in California. So if I leave, that's the end of it. And if whatever company I go to drops me, then I'm really out of luck. So I don't even know if I can shop around.
Well, so here's what I would go for as a consumer. I would be down for just give me a reduced policy. I'm talking about, I want fire coverage, I want liability, but I don't need all the other bells and whistles. And I'm not sure why we can't move. Maybe there's regulations and restrictions, but another thing to think about. These guys have high losses, so they're going to bolt if they can't make money here. So we got to look at that side of it too.
That's very true. Thank you for the call, sir. Let's go to Judy in Alamo. Judy, hello.
Hi, Alamo, California. I just got my homeowner's renewal policy from Allstate this week. My rate went up 88%. I've lived in this house 26 years. I called my agent. She says designated high fire zone now, which we haven't had a wildfire here the whole time I've lived here. So it's just picking up the costs that they're losing down in L.A. and other parts of the state. But 88%, nearly doubled.
Okay, how is that even legal? Because State Farm had to go to the Department of Insurance and ask them for a rate increase, and that went up 20%. Yet your homeowner's insurance is going up 88%. My auto insurance is going up 97%. I wonder if they had to get approval from the California Department of Insurance to do that too, and we just didn't know about it. I don't know.
I don't know. I feel like it maybe not legal, but since nobody knows enough to call them out on it, they just do it. They just get away with it. But, the Department of Insurance, I saw Laura speak once. Not impressive. So I think I'm calling my legislature next, start calling the politicians and putting pressure on them.
Here's what I don't understand. I have multiple cars on my plan, and it's bundled. I have my auto insurance and my homeowner's insurance through the same policy from the same agent from the same company. It's State Farm. And for one of the vehicles, the rate increase was relatively minor. It only went up by $100 or something like that dollars. On the other one, it went up 97%. And the driving record's the same. The cars are now 6 years older. I don't understand why one would go up dramatically and the other would go up incrementally. And when I asked the agent why that happened, they didn't have an answer.
I think sometimes it's dependent on the theft trends. Like if it's a vehicle that has a lot of break-ins or auto theft, then they raise the rates on them. I don't know. I haven't gotten my auto policy yet. My business with Allstate is also bundled. I'm thinking if it goes up significantly, I'll sell one of my cars because it's just like draining it's too much money.
If you're asking me if I drive a Kia, the answer is no.
Very good. Good luck.
All right.
Thanks.
Thank you for the call. Let's go to Michael in Long Beach. Michael, hello.
Hi. How you guys doing?
Good.
I've been with State Farms for 50 years. I recently got my auto policy premium, and it went up about 26% on a 20-year-old car. But I also have homeowners with them, an umbrella with them, and they also handle the earthquake insurance, which is through the state of California. And also with Allstate, I have flood. So I'm concerned about what those are going to be. But I agree with the gentleman who talked before. The homeowners is key because that's kind of a difficult one to get, I think probably more than maybe some of the others. And the interesting thing last year, my agent said that we're canceling all of the policies we have for apartment owners in Long Beach. So I guess that was something they may have done in other cities. And like you said, John, if I want to move next door or in another city, like down in Orange County, they will not write me. So that's the state we're in.
You know what this kind of reminds me of? Do you remember when some time ago the gas bills from Southern California Gas Company were exploding? They were going up exponentially, and they never really gave us a reason that made sense, and then all of a sudden they came back down to reality?
Yes.
I kind of feel like that's what's going on right now with auto insurance.
Yes, and I think, too, the woman before talked about the type of cars, because you actually have more than one car. So some cars are more susceptible based on their history from claims, and I think that does affect it. But going up 98% for, I don't know how many cars you have, but that's crazy.
All right. Thank you for the call, sir. Let's go to Mike in San Jose. Mike, hello.
Good afternoon.
Hi.
I have AAA for 20 years, and I have a 22 Silverado four-wheel drive. My insurance went up $600, and I asked them why, and they told me because the state told them to, and I told them the state does not run your company, and they didn't have an answer. But I've seen videos. Klaus Schwab and all those One World clowns, these insurance companies are giving them billions of dollars, and they say you'll own nothing and be happy. So, please don't kill me.
I would imagine that if Ricardo Lara gave them the approval to raise homeowners insurance by 20%, everyone's going to get hit with a 20% increase across the board because they can. The state just gave them the green light to do it, so people are expecting it, so why not?
Mine went last year.
All right. Thank you for the call, sir. Let's go to Joe in Sunnyvale. Joe, hello.
Hey, good afternoon. So I have a sad story as well with State Farm. I have two homes. I have one in Sunnyvale, and I've got another one in the mountains in a place called Murphy's. 2 years ago, my insurance premium for the house was $3,500. Last year it went up to $7,700, and this year they sent me a bill for $13,900.
Oh my God!
Crazy. Yeah, and so it finally got my attention. I called my broker, and he looked into it, and I did a deep dive on our coverage. Found out that our house up there was insured for twice as much as it needed to be rebuilt in case of a total destruction. So not only were they just raising my rates, they were also over-insuring me. And to all the listeners out there, check your policies and figure out what it costs to rebuild your home, and make sure the insurance company is not getting extra money from you for that reason as well.
All right. Great advice. Thank you for the call, sir. 800-222-5222 is the telephone number, 1-800-222-5222. My homeowner's insurance just went up 20%. My auto insurance went up 97%. When I called my agent to ask why, they didn't have an answer that made sense. Are you seeing your insurance rates exploding? Right now, we're taking your calls at 800-222-5222, 1-800-222-5222. My auto insurance went up 97%. My homeowner's insurance went up 20%. Are you seeing the same thing on your bill? Let's go to Mark in San Francisco. Mark, hello.
Yeah, wow. So I'm a landlord in San Francisco, Los Angeles, Long Beach, all that. And let's start with Tahoe. My house there is with California Fair Plan. I was paying $1,800 a year, and now I'm paying through California Fair Plan, $8,000, and then that's just fire, and then of course I've got another policy on top of that, so I'm close to $13,000 by the time I'm done. And your last caller talked about being overinsured. I don't know how that's even possible. How it's possible because building costs just up in Tahoe are probably about $800 to $1,000 a square foot, depending on how nice your home is. In the Bay Area, once you find a contractor, if you can get one, you're looking at for new construction, $800 to $1,000 a square foot as well, for a custom home. So, I mean, for me, it's not overinsuring that I worry about. It's being underinsured if there's a total loss. And then State Farm on my buildings, anything for 3 units, they've canceled me, and so I've had to find other insurance companies which are requiring just crazy stuff. I mean, I had to replace some cracked concrete in front of my building, $3,000 worth. Remove a barbecue that was in a patio, uncovered, like I don't know what you'd call it, patio area between two buildings, a front building and a back building, and they're picking at every little thing, and they cancel you, and then they give you a certain number of days to fix whatever they want to fix. So I'm going through that now in Long Beach as well, and my insurance down there has tripled. So 20%. When I hear you guys talk about 20%, man, I'd love 20%. And if Newsom had allowed the insurance companies to price in these things, I guess I probably wouldn't be dealing with, what I'm dealing with now, which is having trouble getting insurance. And you should really talk about California Fair Plan, how they're basically going bankrupt. These poor people down in Southern California aren't getting paid out, and they're saying that they can't, that they could go bankrupt, and they can't really. They're maxed out. So, what happens once they say we can't insure any more policies? What happens to the real estate market? Because unless you're paying cash, your mortgagee is going to require you to have insurance.
Yeah, and when people are forced to purchase insurance and they just need to have something on paper, a lot of people, I would assume, are underinsured in California. And then as we're seeing
Right.
with what's going on right now in Pacific Palisades, if your home burns down in a fire, they fight you tooth and nail on every single claim. Those people are going through hell right now trying to get the money that is owed to them because companies like State Farm they don't want to write the checks. Thank you for the call, sir. Let's go to Ben in Canoga Park. Ben, hello.
Hey, how you doing?
Good.
No, I just had a comment about those commercials that they keep airing. What's the going cost of half hour? Is it like $8 million?
Well, and how about this? Why are you advertising in California at all? And you see State Farm at the stadiums and the arenas and all over the place, but you couldn't buy a policy from State Farm if you wanted to. They pulled out of the market.
Yeah. I mean, I don't get but I mean, how much of those houses are up that, the average house that went up on fire? More than $8 million? I don't think so. Maybe a little less, right? But I've been counting all those commercials I keep seeing, the stupid Batman Farmers commercial. How much are they spending on a production level like that? And yet, looking at their customers like, sorry? I mean,
Here's a prediction. They're spending about as much as Gavin spent on that heavy metal propaganda film about the bullet train.